and welcome to another webinar here in Let's Talk by Interlingua. Right now, we are going to talk about tattoos and what these mean to us. Nowadays, it's pretty common to find people who have tattoos if you're walking down the streets of the place you live in. Unfortunately, having a tattoo is still seen with a lot of prejudice. But did you know that in many parts of the world, such as the Polynesia Islands, tattoos are very meaningful for some of the cultures who live there, since they are a way to illustrate their history, their heritage, and their roots. Many people around the world wear their tattoos in a similar way because they can represent a deep aspect of their lives, like a beautiful memory, or to even exteriorize a part of their personality. Let's meet two people like that. In a moment, our guests, Jorge Ricardo Moreno and Jordi Trejo, will tell us about their experiences with their own tattoos and what these mean to them. So, without further ado, let's begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to one more conversation, this one about tattoos. Here with me, Mr. Jorge Moreno. So,
Hi.
hello.
Hello, hello.
And well, as Mike was saying a moment ago, well, tattoos can express like a lot of different things. So, I would like to start by discussing why or what inspired you to get your first tattoo or tattoos. So, do you remember, or what can you tell us about that?
Oh my God, yes, of course. I mean, I think nobody forgets their first tattoo. For many things, it's a rite of passage for a person that has wanted to have tattoos probably since they were kids. Um, this is the first time you experience that pain, that very peculiar and special pain. Like, oh, look, that's how it feels. Okay, and of course, it's super meaningful because it's the first one. You know. I had it done when I was 18.
Okay.
I decided, probably since I was 15, that I didn't want to pay it with my parents' money.
Yeah.
Because if I was going to rebel against their wishes, because they were very clear from the beginning that they didn't want me to have any tattoos and or piercings, I was like, I'm going to rebel with my father's money. So,
Okay. Super punk.
and exactly like super hardcore.
Yeah.
So, so I had to wait until I um, started working and I was able to pay it for myself.
Hmm.
And in that moment, it was very representative of what I felt, but I was very young and it's been long covered up.
All right. All right.
Yeah, it was lost in the sands of time, but I still remember it, of course.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. And do you
What
remember
about
like,
you?
okay, what about me? Well,
Yeah.
my first one's a little bit later. I think I was 25.
Wow.
But yes, ever since I think that I first got the idea of getting a tattoo when I was 15 or something.
Yeah.
But then I got my first ones when I was like 25, and I got them as a birthday present. Uh,
Oh, cool.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I have that
um,
tendency now.
yeah. That's why I got them, and it was very funny because I had just quit a job, and in that job, a lot of people had tattoos, and I was
Mm,
pretty much like one of the few people that didn't have any. And I was like,
okay.
why don't I get one? And I ended up getting like six, I think, on my
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it was peculiar and a very interesting experience.
It was.
Yeah. and and what about, I don't know, what about the meaning, or what was your process of choosing or deciding what you wanted to get on your skin? Because I remember that when I got my first one, or my first ones, I spent like probably 3 or 4 months like deciding what to do, what not to get, like what I wanted to get more and where. So
No.
what happened with you?
Oh my God, same thing. I started fantasizing about this since I was probably 14, 15, something like that, with my favorite rock bands. I saw that those guys had tattoos and I wanted one. And I started scribbling and doodling in a notebook, and that notebook became the tattoo notebook. I didn't use it for anything else. I had it stuck to somewhere in my bedroom where nobody could see it because I was a little bit embarrassed, and I didn't
Okay.
want my parents to know that I was thinking about it. So it was a very hard process. It still is a little bit, but in those days it was almost impossible because like the first one has to be special,
Mm-hmm.
and you think about it for months, as you said. And finally, I decided on a figure that was part angel, part demon,
Okay.
that symbolized the duality of the human being, that we can do such amazing things and such terrible things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
All
it took
right.
me forever to decide
Yeah, and that was your first one.
that first one. Yeah,
Okay. I remember, and if you allow me to show some of mine,
yeah,
and it was very strange because for most of the tattoos that I got that first session, I really thought about it because in that moment I was really into magic and whatnot. And I don't know if you can see it here. For example, I have this one, like all the runes that exist and like together in
yeah,
one. And where is it? Here, this one,
yeah,
the
yeah. You can see.
alchemic for I think
Yeah,
it's air, and I have water here, and obviously on the legs I have
fire
earth
and
and fire.
earth.
And this one because I'm a big Lord of the Rings nerd.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. Yes, of course.
those were my first tattoos. But I
Nice.
remember that it was very funny because for those tattoos, I spent a lot of time like thinking about them. But when I was at the studio or at the parlor with my tattoo artist, I was like, I want to get one more. Why not? And then I got this one.
Oh my God, a penguin.
Yes, I mean, like, if you take a look at the rest of my tattoos, this is the only one that doesn't match. It's like it was like
Yeah,
an
it's nothing to do.
yeah, it's like, but
Look,
at the
look, look.
moment it seemed like a good idea, and I went with it.
Of
So
course.
yeah,
Look at this. Look at this. I have a Woody Woodpecker. Ah,
okay, yeah,
yeah, you can see it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Kind of.
There it is.
Ah,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
upside
so
down, but you can see it.
I suppose that happens to everyone.
Yeah, everybody can have like a funny, cute, ridiculous tattoo. Yes, of course, it's totally valid.
Yeah, at some point we're like, yeah, why not? It will look fine. But yeah,
Exactly. They lose
but
all meaning, and it's just like looks cool.
yes, exactly. And then one day, a couple of years later, you wake up and you're like, what? But
Why do I
yeah,
have this? Yeah,
yes, yeah, but I think it happens to everyone.
absolutely.
All
Yes, of
right,
course.
so your Woody Woodpecker. And what else? What else do you have? What can you tell us about the meaning or maybe the background?
I have two that are quite meaningful still. I had
Hmm.
them when I was kind of young, but they are still quite meaningful. I have a passage from the Bible here in Russian,
Okay.
and is I'm not a believer of any kind. I respect a lot all kinds of dogmas and faiths, but I'm not a believer. I just love the way it says the things that it says. Is Revelations 21:4.
Hmm.
And God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, yada yada.
All right.
And it's still meaningful for me. I've used it a couple of times to say goodbye to a couple of loved ones. It's very used in funerals in the US at least.
Hmm.
And here I have a verse of the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the
Sanskrit.
um, it's Sanskrit,
Hmm.
and it's a verse that is very insightful. It
Hmm.
says, "Fire does not burn this, water does not wet this, etc.," referring to the ethereal self. Like nobody can
Okay.
touch me. Yeah,
All right. All right. That's
those
that's
are the
that's
meaningful ones.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I have other
Okay.
ones that is just like, what? There's a
Yeah,
Jason
I
here.
have more, but I won't show them.
There's a
Yeah.
Jason here. Look,
Jason
because
Voorhees. Yeah.
I am a fan of horror movies. So
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. I mean that's I mean that's nice. And well, that one that you mentioned about the Bible, for a moment I thought you were going to have that one of Pulp Fiction, Ezekiel
oh,
25.
Ezekiel 117.
Yeah. But I mean that
Yeah,
one is also a good one, right?
absolutely, and
Okay.
I love Pulp Fiction, of course.
Yes, of course. It's a
Yes,
classic.
of course.
And then, well, those were my first ones. And now that you mentioned like the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita and whatnot, and the ones that you saw some days ago, this is my
Hmm.
favorite
Yeah,
one now, full
beautiful
of
rooms. Yeah.
and this one here.
Okay.
Um, and well, I can tell you that these ones I got them for religious purposes. You know, as a believer and whatnot, I
Hmm.
felt that it was correct to get something to represent that, you know.
Yeah,
So that's why I got them.
and they will never lose the meaning. That is the beautiful thing.
Yeah, of course, and that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking when I decided on them. Like it was like, or it's like a permanent thing. It's like yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And I really really like them, and I like how they look. I feel proud of them. And so yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
And they look beautiful. Very, very, very good selection of tattoo artists.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, I mean
Sure thing.
he's good. He's good.
It's
And
so difficult. What was your process to select like where to have your first tattoos done? Because that is also another problem. Where to have them? Like,
where to
should I
have
go to
them?
the most expensive? Should I go to the cheapest one? Should I go like middle of the range?
Ah, okay. My process was more about uh, how safe and clean does it look.
Of course.
To be honest, I didn't really think a lot about the cost because
Hmm,
I knew that in the end I would have to save money to pay for whatever I wanted to get. So
of
I
course.
focused more on how clean it was, how safe it looked, and whatnot. So
No.
that was my process. So I basically spent one afternoon checking all the studios in the area where I lived back then.
Of course.
So one afternoon, just walking from studio to studio, like checking the prices and everything. For example, I remember that when they told me, yes, we can get your tattoo done like right now, and what, like 400 pesos. I was like,
What?
uh,
Do it.
and I was like,
Do it.
well, let me think about it, and then I continued. And then I found this studio. Um, and he told me, no, you need to make an appointment so that we can discuss your ideas. I can give you some suggestions and whatnot. And I can tell you that it's going to be like about 2,500. And I was like, okay, sounds
Reasonable.
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but I remember that I didn't make the appointment right away. I went back home. I checked some reviews on Facebook, and based on that, I was like, yeah. And like a week later, I made the appointment, and then I got my first tattoos.
Cool. That's a good
Yeah.
story.
What
Yeah.
about you?
Oh my God. No, I mean, I started like in a terrible way because the first one was done by the friend of a friend in his garage, and I only
Okay.
paid for the inks basically.
Mm-hmm.
I paid for the inks and a six pack.
All right. All right. So that was
Yeah,
your first experience getting a
that was
tattoo.
my first one. It wasn't half as bad as you would think nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't sanitary, it wasn't healthy, it wasn't well done. I mean, all the basic no-nos, you know.
Yeah.
For me, it was like a checklist that yes, yes, horrible, yes, done by an apprentice, yes, done in a house, yes,
Yeah.
but
Like
yeah,
done in the garage.
yeah,
We
like
were
like
drinking beer.
of course, and playing Xbox and with a lamp here like this, you know, like those Pixar lamps, like
Yeah.
come here. Yeah, it
Like
was like.
all the tattoo red flags were there.
Absolutely, all of them, all of them. Yes, I was drunk. He was drunk. The only thing I could tell for sure is that the equipment was basically new
Okay.
because he made me buy it.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was like, well, at least is this is the one that he practices with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All
but
right.
yeah, all the no-nos, and this is what I told my daughter, and this is what I tell everyone: like, don't do as I did. Do as I
Yeah.
tell you, please, for once.
Yeah. Don't get it with a friend of a friend,
No,
or the guy that is going to charge you the least. No,
yeah,
that is
no, no,
yeah.
no, because you get what you pay
Yeah.
for. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a for sure thing. I mean, you don't also go to the most expensive one for your first tattoo because, well, don't go to the extremes, basically. You know,
Yeah.
something
Exactly.
affordable, nice, in a um, in a place well done. Like, yeah,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And what about the future? Are you planning on getting any others? Because I know,
you know it, you know it.
yeah, everyone is
This
like
never stops.
on our first tattoo. We're like, yes, only this one, just to see how it feels. And then 1 or 2 years later, maybe some months later, it's like,
Yeah,
oops, yeah.
yeah. Like,
So
oh my god.
yes, like, and one
Yeah.
day you wake up and you're like, okay, now I have no more clean skin to get a new tattoo.
Well,
Yeah,
I
so
have very few spaces. Yes,
okay, all right. So
but
when are
yes,
you planning
absolutely.
to get?
Um, on my list, because I don't know if everybody does this, but I have a list of
Yeah.
pendings, you know, and depending the cash I have in the moment, depending the space, I start crossing them out, you know. So on the list right now, there's Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna have it here. I have a little bit of a space between the chest and the shoulder,
Okay.
so I plan on accommodating in there, kind of.
Okay.
There's oh my god, a Medusa,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to have it like kind of big, so maybe I'll put it on my upper thigh,
All right.
because I want every snake to be different.
Oh, okay.
Right? Sounds cool, right? I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. So I
Yeah.
want
Man.
like a cobra, like a coralillo, a rattlesnake,
Different types of.
black mamba. Yeah, one of each,
Jeez.
you know.
All right.
But that is gonna be a labor of love because to do the texture and the shape of every snake
Every different.
skin, every different
Mm-hmm.
one, like it's gonna be a labor of
Yes.
love. So I have that one pending, but that's gonna require quite a bit of money. And
Mm-hmm.
something smaller that I have pending right now is the signature of Jack the Ripper when he signed one of the letters from hell.
Letters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the phrase from hell, you know?
Uh huh.
Yeah,
All
just like
right.
that. That's
Now,
some of the things I have.
now that you mentioned Jack the Ripper and the letter, I have to confess something. When I started getting my tattoos, because I am like I love like cryptograms and whatnot.
Of
At
course.
some point, I thought about getting one of the you remember
Zodiac.
the Zodiac killer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
Absolutely,
thought
man.
about getting one of those letters to put
Yeah,
on.
the
But
whole
then
letter. Oh my God.
exactly, I was
Cool.
like, wait, it's like I am representing a serial killer. That is not morally correct. And I was like, so that's why I didn't get it. But at some point,
Yeah,
I thought about it.
yeah.
So yeah,
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 I
yeah,
also have a strange fascination for serial killers, but I'm not sure if I am like promoting it or like creating awareness. Like, yeah,
yeah. That was like my dilemma.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I totally understand you, man.
yeah, yeah.
I am also a fan of comic books,
Mm-hmm.
so I've got quite a few superheroes, but more or less, more than superheroes, the villains. You know,
Mm-hmm.
on my left hand I got Carnage.
Okay, yeah, it looks very cool.
Yeah, and on the right hand I got Darkseid, but that's gonna be more difficult to see. You know,
Okay, so Marvel and
because of the
DC.
light. Yeah, one Marvel, one DC, of course.
All right, all right. No, I don't have anything about comic books. I think like the nerdiest thing I have is like this one for Lord of the Rings, and then I have this one for Doctor Who. But that's
Okay,
like the
nice.
nerdiest thing I have. Everything else is like,
More
um,
esoteric
yeah, strict or religious if
or
you
religious,
want. All
of
right, yeah, yeah,
course.
yeah. So yeah.
I
Oh,
absolutely love them.
yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, I'm quite proud about them, and actually, like the others I would like to get are or follow this idea, like a
Hmm.
religious, or well, they continue with a religious topic.
Hmm.
Just before we go, because we are almost out of time, just like a little final note. I was thinking about getting like someone on my head,
Ooh,
and let me say something. It wasn't because of Vikings, because I
yeah.
started watching I started watching Vikings like this year, but I got that idea like a couple of years ago, so it wasn't because of Vikings. So I wanted to get some here, and I wanted to get some like crossing my eye. So yeah, and well, I think I've been left alone. So that's all, folks. Thank you for watching, and we'll hope to see you at some point in the future. Thank you, everyone.